I mean, I will say about Encanto, the song that the middle sister has, Luisa, who also since working at a karaoke bar, that song blew up.
Oh, I was thinking of something else. Yes, Encanto. Okay.
Were you thinking of Coco?
Yes, I was thinking of Coco.
Coco makes me bawl.
Yeah, that's when you're like, I cried a little bit. I was like,
no,
really?
Coco makes me bawl.
I feel like that would punch you in the
that's also a
nards.
different type of generational trauma. And that's just when he's Coco and he plays I'll cry just thinking about it.
Oh, you're talking about Pressure. Pressure like a drip, drip.
Yeah. So that song goes way too hard to be just like a random middle Disney song.
It's amazing
for like a minor character. Really, I thought she was going to be a much more important character through the entire story.
Well, that's the one I told you a bunch of screamo bands covered.
No, and that's also the other thing is you told me that, and as I was listening, I was like, dude, this is a fucking emo ballad.
Yeah,
this is an
slaps.
emo song, dude. Like the fuck, dude. I want to do a screamo cover of it.
Well, then she also has even then without the song too, her dancing, her choreography they give her, really slaps too. That whole thing.
I was like, dude, this slaps so hard. And then we go back into kind of a good above average Disney film.
Yeah.
But also didn't realize that it was Stephanie Beatriz that was the voice of the lead act, the main character.
Oh, yeah.
And didn't know she could sing, so now I'm more in love with this woman.
Well, I was also, the other night, I watched Incredibles 2, just on a whim. I was like, yeah, sure.
What's the storyline of that one again? I think I've only seen it once.
They're trying to bring superheroes out of hiding. Okay. And they end up fighting this villain named Screenslaver.
I haven't seen the second one really.
Well, the reason I was bringing it up is because, one, Disney needs to stay in their lane because Incredibles just was incredible. I forgot. I remember not really liking it when I first saw it.
The first one?
No, the second one. I was kind of whatever. But I was watching it the other night and Elastigirl, Helen's fucking their depiction of stretchy powers in the second one is incredible. This shit, there's this whole chase scene with her in a motorcycle, but the thing with the motorcycle is that it splits in the middle, so the front tires and the back tires separate.
Okay.
So then
she four-wheeler?
And then she extends her torso.
Yeah.
So she does these wild mid-air tricks with her stretch. It's just basically their depiction of stretchy powers is the best thing, and there's movies that have been just straight up about Fantastic Four that have completely, utterly shit the bed.
Oh, and
you're like, Incredibles 2 is the one that nailed stretchy powers to there's a scene where she's going after this train, it goes into a tunnel. She's like, oh, I gotta dodge it. So she splits, and then the back tires and the front tires are on either side of the tunnel. Mm-hmm. And she's riding her motorcycle through and then does this jump spin, puts the bike together, lands on the thing, and then goes.
I see what you mean.
And
I have a vague memory of that.
And I was just like, all right, she's pretty badass in this. And I love that they really made her a superhero, because in the first one, they didn't really.
Wasn't the second one, she was kind of she's the superhero while the dad's staying home.
Yeah.
Okay, so
as opposed to the first one where he's the one kind of getting back into it, she's the one that is.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, Elastigirl slaps.
Well, we'll see what they do with the new Fantastic Four, and if they do Reed Richards proper. Go Pedro Pascal.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, but it's happening. You want to lead us in now?
You think it's going to be cursed, too?
I don't know.
All right. This is Tommy.
This
is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape.
Butt, gonna drive some big truck, gonna give some ass, gonna kick some ass, gonna rise up and kick a little bit, gonna rock flag and eagle. You don't watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
No. Hello, everyone.
Some people will get that. That's Charlie Day. He's wearing an American flag. If I could recreate his outfit, he's an American flag handkerchief, and he's got this leather jacket with an eagle on the back, and it's their 4th of July episode, and he's getting pumped up for this patriotic thing there. He's gonna kick a little butt, gonna kick some ass, gonna ride on an eagle, and you just fucking hilarious. I'll show you the clip.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
Happy Independence Day.
This is welcome to Tommy and Jacob's mixtape. TJ's mixtape. This is Tommy. That's Jacob. We're a movie review podcast, so we talk about movies, the history of them.
Your energy is so low from my brain.
Their history, who made them, who's in them, and then kind of just an overview of the movie, and then a rating at the end. There's arbitrary, but just for us. And for those that are celebrating, happy 4th of July. So we decided to do 1996's Independence Day.
Yeah. Welcome to Earth.
For those of you that don't know, which, maybe, I don't know. Aliens attack Earth in the days leading up to the 4th of July, causing a global resistance to stop them, led by the USA. USA. Rock flag and eagle! We're not those guys. We're just kind of going with it. USA. This is a fucking America movie, man.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't.
Did you? That's one of the things that I've always kind of like been like with this movie is the whole like fuck you America.
I mean, if you think about it though, this is
world police. Fuck you.
This is the era.
It totally is. Yeah.
96 is real. We're really in the throes of that.
Yeah.
USA. USA.
I mean, it's also it's like pre 9/11 as well. You know?
Yes.
So like so we're not even getting to the toxic patriotism that happens later.
Yeah.
You know, like this is still just like, you know, America is at the top of the world feeling, and you know, and we got Bill Clinton in office.
That's what I was wondering. Is this when Clinton is in office?
Bill Clinton, the 90s is the biggest. Yeah, from 1994 to 2002, right? Yeah. Or maybe it was 1992 to 2000. Because Bush was 2000. Yeah, 2000, 2004. 2000, yeah.
92 to 96.
92 to 96.
Yeah, and then you got W.
Oh, W was the early 90s.
W.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought Bill Clinton did 2 terms.
Wait. Yeah. No. Wait. Sorry. 93 to 93 to 2001.
Yeah.
Okay. You're right.
I know my fucking presidential history. I'm an American.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Sir, we have you on camera with I had sexual relations with that woman.
That depends what your definition of jizz is.
Clinton. What a wild time.
All right. Anywho. So very America movie. America, fuck yeah. But it's still a great movie.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's fun.
It's fun. It's very fun. And you do have to like, I just, it's one of those things I've always like thinking about the younger generation. It's like, to them, I wonder just how ridiculous this is. And us, it's not, because this is just the thing at the time.
It was like, yeah, I know. America. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, you know, so we're kind
of
like,
there's a reason why when Team America by Parker and Stone came out, the America, fuck yeah, you know, that whole thing. They're making fun of the fact of what America had become, through like what our media was feeding us.
Those
thing,
two, man, it's amazing how little fucks they give.
Oh, dude, yeah,
it's kind of insane.
They get away with so much.
They get away with a lot of shit.
Cool, get away with, I guess.
Yeah. So Independence Day was released July 3rd, 1996.
Yeah, and
which I was kind of surprised by that they actually did that.
I feel like it was kind of a little maybe serendipitous. I think that's the word I'm looking for. But it kind of like it was able to. I don't think it was planned, but I think they saw that there was the opportunity, and they kind of like, oh, let's just float it into there then. Because also this movie unlocked to me the level of disaster movies, and because I'm not a big fan, I shouldn't say not a big fan. I've never really watched disaster movies.
Well, that's
I wouldn't even really put this as a disaster movie at first thought.
That's what I was going to say. Is like, it's funny to think about this as a disaster movie because that's what it is. Mm-hmm. It's just instead of the usual nature cause that,
or whatever.
Well, because it also became, as the climate change became more in the lexicon of conversation with people, then that's what disaster movies really became. Yeah. Because before it was giant meteor or some act of
yeah.
God kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And then it became our fault.
Yeah.
With like, you
man
know,
versus man.
man versus
Man versus nature due from man's folly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like the director of this he's been nicknamed the Master of Disaster.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because his list is like some of the biggest disaster movies.
Yeah, well, so like Ronald Emmerich?
Roland
Emmerich,
who writer and director for this.
who did such things as the Stargate movie.
Yep, Stargate, which was before this. And there's a weird Reddit thing where apparently Stargate and this movie are like in the same universe.
I can see that.
Yeah, right?
It works.
Also, I have a very, very distinct memory somewhere that I thought that there was a scene, like they used the same B-roll footage over Egypt in Stargate and in this movie, and I was completely wrong. It could be that weird alternate time like Mandela effect for me, but I remember distinctly seeing the same scene in these two movies.
Interesting. But you also have to keep in mind too with the change, like because they do take things in and out now.
Yes,
it's like unless you have the original like VHS or DVD.
I'll find it. Actually,
I have.
Mom, if you're listening,
I watched this on DVD, the collector's edition.
I'm pretty sure if we still have all of our VHSs, we have Stargate and Independence Day on VHS.
You got to get a VHS player.
It's not hard to find.
But yeah, so Godzilla.
Yeah, Godzilla,
which the Matthew Broderick one, which I remember really liking. You don't like that one. That's also very.
I remember liking it when I was younger, but as I've gotten older, I've been like, oh well, it's just not a good movie.
Well, that's also very USA. USA.
Yeah.
Which and then I also thought was funny, Patriot, which I brought up doing.
Dude, I know, like no, most of it, even Universal. I mean, Universal Soldier is kind of a commentary on like a futuristic like idea, but yeah, the Patriot he did. Also, he did 2012, Day After Tomorrow, like
10,000
BC. Yeah,
which I just think is funny too because he's a German film director. So
he's making up for something.
It's like, what is this? Is it really just feeding the formula that he knows will be eaten, or is
he just making media to blind us to what's really happening behind the curtains, making us feel like we are high? Never mind.
Yeah,
I have conspiracies.
Also, Moonfall most recently, which is like I think like the kind of pinnacle of his disaster movie. What if the moon fell into Earth? And they're like, well, yeah, sure, whatever. Like,
if that's what you want to write,
that's what you want. I am morbidly curious to watch that on what is the grand plan to fix that scenario.
Also, what causes it?
Mining. We're mining the moon.
Like we're actually on the moon mining
it. Yeah, I don't know. That's speculation. I'm guessing. I've never seen it. I'm like, what can you do?
Is it Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck are up there and they,
Bruce Willis is actually alive and he's like, they let me die, so now I'm gonna crash the moon. Now he's like a supervillain, like James Bond style.
Oh fuck! You're lucky. I don't remember the Aerosmith song because I was gonna start singing.
I think we all are. And then also the second Independence Day Resurgence.
Yeah, which both writer and producer. Writer of this, Dean Devlin, they did both of the movies, both this original and that sequel, Resurgence.
Yeah. So writing duo and the whole what birthed this was the quintessential kind of stereotypical idea of aliens coming to Earth and then signs hanging out in some backwoods farm somewhere in the middle of the country that no one. A select few see, but then was the idea of it. What if it was this global scale invasion, which I think is really one of the saving factors of this movie because
it makes it unique.
The beginning half of this movie is truly terrifying.
Like just trying to figure out what the fuck
is going on.
Yeah.
And, it's like Signs, great example. It's like it's a small little town, so that's scary in its own right because it's its isolated family thing.
Yeah.
But this is
and you're getting snippets across the world of what this isolatedness is happening with other people.
But then to have these giant set pieces of these city-sized skyscrapers coming in with fire and clouds, and that was really cool.
And it's like the level of like of like fear for it's like it's a different kind of fear because like if we're in a quick way to like kind of use science as an example is the alien invasion is quiet and stealthy. These aliens just come up with their big fucking dicks and they're like, we're gonna blow you up, like it's just like it's there in your face immediately, but it's still kind of like what does it mean until
shit hits the fan?
Yeah,
which that's what I liked about it
until the countdown ends.
Well, and that's what I liked about it too, was there is this first immediate what are they doing here thing. So there's this kind of nice glimmer of hope that maybe they're not hostile.
Yeah,
maybe. So, there's even that thing on the television of don't shoot your guns at them.
Yeah,
which made me laugh. I was like, that. And what makes me laugh about these kind of movies now is I'm just going to jump to a scene really quick just because it's for the commentary I want to make. But there's that scene in LA where everyone's on the rooftops having a party celebrating, even though everyone's like, all the officials are like, we don't know what this means, what this is, or what is happening.
Yeah.
So we really suggest staying away from all of this until it is figured out. And I feel like at a time you're sitting there like, these people are stupid. Like, this doesn't make any sense. No one would be doing this. And then now living through the life that we all have lived, we're all like, no, this is 1,000% what fucking people would do. They would go to the rooftop of when aliens are just chilling and be like, woo. And hell, I might be one of them.
Welcome to Earth.
Like,
woo!
I really respected the guy with the sign that says, take me with you. I was like, yeah, I agree with that sentiment. But yeah, I just thought that was a really funny thing.
I don't want to live on this planet.
It's just funny of just things that like that have happened in our lifetime that make you really change your opinion about the species of human
as a
whole.
Yeah. But yes, so other writer producer Dean Devlin has worked. Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin worked on a handful of movies together in the 90s. Universal Soldier. Godzilla, Stargate, but Dean Devlin is much more now mainly a producer, and like most prominent the series of The Librarian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's like kind of his baby.
That's like a treasure hunting thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's like USA Network's National Treasure type thing.
Okay. Oh, I forgot they did. Didn't they do a National Treasure TV show? Yeah, they did.
It's called The Librarian.
Is that actually no? There's actually like a National Treasure.
I don't think so.
No.
No.
I thought there was. I think there is.
No.
Question for Google.
Hey Google. Oh yeah, our phones might actually hear that.
Oh, I put mine on airplane mode, so.
Oh, there we go.
I don't know if that would. Does that matter?
Mine's quiet, so I don't know if it. Yeah, I didn't pick it up. Okay.
Anyways,
someone's phone just did something somewhere.
I never thought about that. So 96. This is actually number 1 in the box office.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Which
it's the first time we've ever done that.
Number 1.
A number 1 box office, I think. I want to say. We generally try to avoid
that
as much as we can.
Yeah, I liked our conversation about when else are we going to do this movie besides now.
Yeah, exactly.
I got 38 this year.
I mean, it's same as last week's.
Well, I had 37 last week, so
I didn't even count. I was just like, it's gonna be around 40 again.
All right, let's get started. So let me get all.
Biggest star, one of the biggest stars in the world at the moment right now, Will Smith, who we talked about
in Wild Wild West.
Yes,
is that the only Will Smith you've done?
I'm pretty sure it is.
I just thought it was kind of wild. That I just never really put together that he did 2 back-to-back like iconic American sci-fi movies.
Like this
and
Men in Black. Yeah.
Like back to because I think Men in Black was 97. So it's just went boom, boom. Which I just was like, wow.
And then he could have done The Matrix. And he said no.
To do Wild Wild.
To do Wild Wild West.
God, I wonder if that keeps him up at night. And this is
Jada Pinkett Smith, but
this is before the slap heard across the world, right. Obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, Will Smith, who's Will Smith, Bad Boys. I was actually also looking at his list. I was like, he's done some pretty great sci-fi.
Oh, yeah.
I, Robot, I Am Legend, this, Men in Black.
How do you feel about
Bright, which is an interesting...
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, Bright's an interesting... I don't really like that movie very much. I like the concept more than the execution.
The concept is really cool, but yeah, it's really mediocre storytelling.
Well, my mom kind of ruined it for me.
How so?
She pointed out how much they're swearing in that movie, and now that's all I can hear.
Oh,
it's pretty wild, actually, for how much the swearing in that movie. And I just know, it's just when someone points it out and then you notice it, that thing. So I hope I didn't do that to anyone else, but I just it's pretty excessive. I don't know why. Anyways, who do you got next?
Bill Pullman.
Bill Pullman, who plays President Whitmore, who we talked about actually in Titan AE.
Yes, that's right. I have that written down. Yeah.
And is more recently in a show called The Sinner, which I really want to check out. It's like a cop show. Spaceballs.
Yep.
Casper.
That's right, Casper. Yes,
he's I adore him in Casper.
I feel like that's from your household. Definitely a movie that's been rewatched. But I've had no reason to rewatch Casper since childhood.
Well, I remember I brought
30 years.
I remember once bringing up Casper and just how funny
the uncles are.
No, like how funny, how much that movie lives in a bubble of the 90s. Because I watched it, a couple of years. I watch it pretty much every Halloween. It's one of my go-to feel-good Halloween movies because it's just cute and whatever. But
God, our idea of Halloween movies are so different.
Well, no, it's like that's my family one.
Yeah.
That's that and Addams Family and that's the cute, Hotel Transylvania, the cute ones. And then I like watching I immediately follow with something horrible and murdery. But I don't have to defend myself. Fuck off. But
you're the one that chose to defend it. I was just making a comment.
Anyways, no, because it's like that movie is so dated, and it's not. That's why I think it's wild. It's not because of the special effects, or it's fine for when it lives, but just the references they make is that so many of those jokes, if you were to show to a young, they would not get it, mainly because they just don't know who the fucking people are.
Yeah,
like the scene when Bill Pullman turns into Rodney Dangerfield, the Crypt Keeper, and Mel Gibson and Clint Eastwood. Someone of a certain age is gonna have no idea who any of those fucking people are.
Yeah, Comedy generally has a tendency to just kind of like live in the era that it is.
Yeah, but it's just that one really stands out to me as just one that's just it's just so topical, for that time.
Who do you got next?
Jeff Goldblum.
Yep.
Who plays David Levinson, Jurassic Park.
A Fly.
Prince of Egypt.
Earth Girls Are Easy. We've never done him, have we?
The Switch. I don't know. No. When?
I can't think of a movie
again.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're better keeping track of this than I am, obviously.
I can't think of anything that we would have done. I mean, I really want to do Prince of Egypt just because I think that one visually, I know it has its problems.
I mean, it's very whitewashed.
Yeah, but visually, I remember that movie being fucking stunning.
It is actually really good.
All right,
like animation wise, yeah.
And then there's a lot of people in this. So let's just do.
Let's go with maybe as lead actresses now. Vivica A. Fox. Then we have Margaret Collin, who is like Jeff Goldblum's love interest. Vivica A. Fox is Will Smith's love. I forgot to write down the First Lady.
Mary McDonnell.
Yeah, because she's got a very minor role, but it's pivotal for the president's arc.
Yeah.
Then we have Randy Quaid, who I don't think we've done for anything. And also, Randy Quaid was like one of my favorite characters in this movie when I was a kid.
He's the one with the most like arc.
Yeah.
And that's not saying like a whole lot, but it is at the same time. But yeah, Randy Quaid, Dennis Quaid's brother. I don't know, National Lampoon's Vacation.
Hey, I'm back.
Kingpin.
Yeah. Oh God, he's fucking hilarious.
Kingpin.
We have Brent Spiner, who I remember as a kid, I just was so blown away to see him not be Data.
Oh, Data. Yeah.
Because I had only ever known him as Data, and I've never seen him do anything else. So I was it was so hard for my brain to comprehend him acting not like Data.
Yeah, and it's also because I think also because in this too, he's kind of creepy.
He's creepy and he's kind of an idiot.
Yeah, for being like our lead scientist on this whole situation.
You're Area 51,
what the fuck have you been doing for the last 50 years?
And he's all like, in a bunker, pretty much, And then, then there's all the kids that are in this movie.
Well, there's also Judge Hirsch, who plays...
Yeah.
Who's that? He was probably my second favorite character.
David's dad. Yeah, he's funny. Like, yeah, I love like how he's talking about.
He's like the old Jewish guy, the old Jewish New Yorker.
He's like talking about love and how he's like, he brings up Oh, he brings up John Lennon. He's like, John Lennon talked about love. Older guy shot in the back. Horrible time.
Yeah, like no one knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just like muttering to himself, and you know, the whole scene of vultures.
Robert Loggia, who plays our general. James Rebhorn, who's kind of the asshole. Harvey Fierstein, who
plays Marty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I need to call my mother. I need to call my mother. I need to call my lawyer. Screw my lawyer. Also, what is that scene? Like what? Like him? Like screw my. What is that lot? Like it's just like it's weirdly funny, but it's also I don't know. 90s are a weird time. Mae Whitman as a fucking baby, literally.
That was so weird to me because I was sitting there and I was like, I know her. She's in Arrested Development. Yeah. I can't remember that character's name. That's funny because no one else can remember her name.
Her name's Anne.
Anne, yeah. Right.
And then we got Harry Connick Jr. It's just like James Duvall. Where the fuck is Giuseppe Andrews? It's insane.
Adam Baldwin. I don't know if you said that.
No.
It's kind of It's
absolutely fucking bonkers.
It's for anyone
because this is an ensemble cast movie, like most disaster movies. You're seeing it from different multiple points of view until they kind of all come together in the end for some whatever weird reason.
Well, yeah, and it's also like it's the 90s, so everyone is very typecasted in stuff they've kind of already done.
Yeah.
The guy that plays the general was also the cop in the lieutenant in this and this, you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense.
You know, I could actually kind of see because of that, and going back to earlier where you were like, oh, that was an interesting timing that they got it released on July 3rd, the 4th of July weekend. This could have been like Devlin and Emmerich's like big plan was like, because now they've already gotten a big following from, because Universal Soldier was a hit. Stargate was not, they were getting recognition for what they were doing.
Stargate kind of feels like to me one of those slow burns. Like people kind of enjoyed it more as time went on. Like a Blade Runner helped to that.
The series kind of gave it its own life after the movie, because the movie, underground sci-fi classic in my opinion, like more of a cult hit than an actual like theatrical hit. But with you saying like all these people that kind of play this specific type, like no one's really the acting in this isn't a stretch for anyone. Will Smith actually has some really fine moments of acting, just like when like when he looks up and he sees the spaceship for the first time. I didn't realize actually how genuine that like fear like sinks into him right there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would say that one of the biggest problems with this movie and the acting is that a lot of the people that are supposed to have chemistry together do not. Mm-hmm. Like him and Vivica A. Fox, to me, don't really jive at all. Like they don't meld, and it feels like they don't know each other.
It feels like they just wanted to put two black people together.
I wasn't going there. I was just like, I don't know.
It's casting is gonna do.
Yeah, but 90s. I mean, it's just like it doesn't feel anything interesting. No. And even then, it's like, and I think that's also kind of a problem with this. Oh well, are we done with cast? Should we get into it? Is that everybody that really right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If we want to get into reviews and then
okay, then I'll save that for.
Well, I guess did I finish my thought? Let me trace my thought. They could have actually maybe like planned like. Well, if we're gonna make the movie is Independence Day, let's do this thing for a big Independence Day weekend, because also it'll just make money, Mm-hmm. Like if we have all of these big stars that do like everybody fits into their role perfectly. It's very big America on the very big America weekend, and it's about America becoming global America.
Super Earth.
Yeah, right? Like it's very much that, and then people, big, it popped off. This was probably one of the most financially
successful movies we've ever done.
Structurally, like for them, the producing companies, whatever, I forget what they're calling right now, but yeah, like planned and done.
Executed. I mean, like, so just for the folks at home, it had a budget of $75 million and it grossed $817.4 million.
Over 10 times.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Like, It's one of those, like, I wonder, I don't know. I mean, this is totally possible because this happens, but I wonder if it's one of those, we can pay you this much salary or try and take the cheaper route and pay you on the gross that it makes. And I wonder if someone was like, oh, I'll just take the salary. And like, I bet that haunts you.
Jeff Goldblum.
Like,
that was,
so I'm just curious.
That was a minute. All right, let's look at the reviews of this generally-ish high. No, not, I don't know. It's got a 7.0 on IMDb. And it's got a 68% on Tomato Meter and a 75% audience score. So I would say, generally favorable. Which I feel like these scores are all very fair. I could see the audience liking it a little bit more because America, fuck yeah. And then the critics being like, it's fodder for a fun time.
Well, yeah, like on Metacritic, this has a 59.
Oh, wow.
Which I was very surprised by, of mixed or average, with 9 positive, 8 mixed, and 2 negative.
Okay.
Who did I? Oh, Lisa. So 83 out of 100 by Lisa Schwarzbaum at Entertainment Weekly. It is the first futuristic disaster movie that is as cute as a button, which when all the special effects blow over is what we Americans like in a monster hit.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a fair one because it's also like, it's from a structural standpoint, this movie is very much applause button now. Now, like, it really tells you what to feel in every given moment.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was really funny because it also has this, like, there's these scenes where basically this has a global destructive scale of like unimaginable proportions, because not only, so it starts off with all the aliens going to each major city around the world. So like, in the United States, Los Angeles, New York, and then, over in Russia, Moscow. And so it's going through all these like big cities, and it's utterly annihilating them. So you're talking about the millions upon millions of people dying.
Yeah.
But and it's like, okay, you really feel the weight of that now. And then it just cuts off. And they're like, oh, but they did this.
The end of Act 1.
Yeah. And then they're like, oh, but now they did this really good thing. Like that whole end scene where they like win the day and everyone's all happy and everything. You're like, yeah, but a lot of people died, so it doesn't have any kind of somber sadness to it. It's just really, America, we saved the day. And you're kind of...
Go and tell the rest of the world that we figured out how to kill the aliens.
Yeah, even though like our forces were basically wiped out. A bunch of civilians were just killed from them coming to the camp. You know what I mean? And it just really tells you what to feel when. Yeah. And I just thought that was really funny.
You know what's really funny is I actually have a memory back when I watched this with my parents. And in the tunnel scene with Vivica A. Fox, and like it's like the destruction is coming, and she just like runs into like a tunnel in the tunnel, and that doesn't overcome on her. Yeah, I remember that happening as blowing by, and my dad specifically be like, I don't think that's how that would work. Like it's just like very like no, she's not alive. What's happened? What like?
Well, and then also I just think that scene stuck out to me too because
the dog.
Well, but like right before that, we kill Marty, one of our comic relief plucky best friends of Jeff Goldblum's David, and then immediately we're like, no, not the dog. You know what I mean?
And then the dog just very much like, that is the happiest dog in danger I have ever fucking seen.
Yeah, I just thought it was so weird. It's like
really bad CGI of it jumping into the...
It was...
Boomer!
I made a note of just Roger Ebert wrote, for all its huge budget, Independence Day is a timid movie when it comes to imagination. The aliens, when we finally see them, are a serious disappointment.
Wow.
And he gave it a 63.
He wasn't feeling very America that year.
Nah. Goddamn commie. For our mix, David Anson, who gave it a 50 out of 100 at Newsweek. The dialogue is tacky, the character stock, and the special effects no improvement on anything George Lucas did 20 years ago.
Okay.
It's pretty bad.
Not meant to be. It's not meant to do anything. I mean, I guess for right at this time, they're not trying to push the boundaries for anything. It's a let's utilize the tools that we have to create the story that we want to create.
Yeah.
Which, in a big filmmaker sense, you know, a lot of the times people will argue, like, you know, like in the film world, it's like a movie shouldn't just be complacent as is. A movie should always be trying to move forward or, like, you know, do something different. I mean, they are utilizing a lot of special effects from 1996 that they're still like pushing boundaries with. Like this won an Academy Award for best special effects, I want to say, and best sound editing. Let me double check that. I know that it won an Academy Award.
Best sound and best visual effects.
Visual effects.
Nominated sound won best visual effects.
Okay. So, like,
I mean, it was also nominated for a couple for a Raspberry.
Razzies?
Yeah.
Really? Which ones?
Worst written film grossing over $100 million.
Oh, wow.
Which you're kind of like sitting there crying, dabbing away with the $100 bills. Like,
yeah, right?
Like, because it's like that, grossing over $100 million.
Yeah. Grossing over 800 million.
Oh, bummer. You know, like,
just throw them into the fire and
yeah. What are you gonna do about it? I got paid, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, it's using everything that is at its top capabilities at the time.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that
top stars, top special effects.
I just think that when it comes to special effects, some old tried and true methods would have maybe been a better idea for this rather than jumping into pretty uncharted waters at the time for how much CG they were doing.
Well, the only CG in this movie really, other than the like alien spacecrafts,
which is fine though because it's dark in space and it works because it doesn't really
are the explosions.
Yeah, but I mean
and
that's
the enhanced explosion, and then the actual explosions of the White House and all of those buildings. Those were miniature models that they actually blew up and then added in like more. Look,
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I think
so.
That's
it's a mixture between
pushed
practical and digital.
Yeah, but I just think that they should have just kind of reeled back on it a little
on
bit.
on the digital.
Yeah, but you could have known.
But you also got to think
like
like
it would look.
It's like I think it looks fine for 1996 because, and also you got to think like what they can create. They can blow up a little model however they want, but they can't in practical effects throw a laser into a model and blow it up. They have to add some type of visual effects to create the scale of what the explosion is.
I don't know, 75 million. I feel like you get your hands on lasers. Oh, you know what I read? That was kind of just a weird side note that the U.S. military was going to donate like costumes and vehicles, or for filming and stuff, but they wanted the Area 51 part taken out, and producer said no, so they pulled back on their. You're like. Suspicious.
It's weird. It's super sus, but it's also kind of like, or are they just like, we don't want this mockery to go on any longer?
We won't be able to stop talking about it.
If they stop talking about it, then
they'll go away. Well, then also that's going back into the now living the life we had, where there's the scene when all the RVs just show up to Area 51 had me bawling laughing.
Yeah, because how
that happened.
Yeah,
that happened.
Yeah.
A bunch of people in fucking RVs and stuff just showed up to the gates. Let me in!
Pretty much. And like every other time we've seen like depictions of Area 51, there's like a perimeter of like, this can't happen.
Yeah.
Like, you mean it's that easy to get up to Area 51? What are you talking about?
Well, then they show the map and it's like Vegas is like 20 minutes away. Yeah, just take the I-5.
I know, dude. Like,
take a left.
But that's like also like a big thing of this, eat the carrot for the movie as well,
But I just thought I'd like to.
Because Will Smith just knows how to fly a fucking alien aircraft, sure. Because he's
seen it. He's seen him.
He's an American pilot.
No, because the argument is
he's seen how
I've seen how they maneuver. I think I can handle it. And
I've seen these things in action. I can do it. Yeah.
Well, and I mean also this giant 8-foot tall alien in a mech suit basically
that he knocks out with one punch. And then it's and then it's just unconscious for 4 hours.
Yeah, until the surgery.
Until they're removing the suit, and then.
Well, but also
that's actually kind of a terrifying scene.
Yeah, but they also knew it was alive.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm like, I know it's for science and everything, but
this is all ridiculous.
Oh, and then the negative 30 of 100 Scott Rosenberg at Salon, a colossally dumb epic that happily traffics in the third-hand imagery and ideas while feeding its audience maintenance levels dose of humor, adrenaline, and spectacle.
He's 100% right, too.
Nailed it.
That is so true.
Nailed it.
But I still want to give it a higher rating.
Nailed it. Of just like, I just love what I was saying, feeding its audience like,
and that's
laugh now.
It knows it's that, and it's not afraid.
I think that's what makes it a higher rating is because they're not trying to do anything
exactly.
This is a summer ass blockbuster America movie about aliens.
Rock flag and eagle.
That's your last time. You're not allowed to do that again for the rest of the episode.
Oh, challenge accepted. Actually, wait, I'm gonna do it again probably. I'm telling you not to.
Okay, so I mean
that might be the problem right there.
The movie on the whole feels good.
I mean, my note for it real quick was it's a solid, fun story with some emotion, and by emotion I mean. And what you were saying, they know where to like feed you what you need to feel, you know, and which is also in a sense that's solid storytelling because like there's moments in it where I'm feeling that emotion, I'm feeling the well up of like it's sad
like the first lady dying,
when Jeff Goldblum and his estranged wife are holding hands during the quick wedding ceremony for Will Smith and Vivica A. Fox, like they're rekindling this this happiness, the father refinding his face, his place with God, like there's moments there's touching moments.
I think that it's just
that's maybe a better thing. Like it's a solid story with touching moments.
I just think though that writing in general has just evolved in such a way that that's my biggest problem with the movie is, and not so much them feeding us those moments because that's just writing in general. Like you're writing a drama, you want these dramatic moments to make the audience
but there's a way
outraged or sad or
there's
whatever.
a way to make that happen naturally and not manipulate the audience, and this is definitely manipulative.
But then my problem with that though is the sweeping under the rug of the larger scale of what we're talking about. Like we have that moment of like what you're saying, like it's like the estranged wife and husband reconnecting in a time at the end of the world, which if you're like, I mean, this is probably not going to work out because once the world's not over, that I don't know. This might be a fleeting emotion, or
it could have been the end all be all to make them realize that maybe their selfishness is what they needed to get over themselves to find themselves together again.
Okay, yeah, but
what?
That's not what we're.
Let's talk about How I Met Your Mother now. Sorry.
But it's that it's like this. It's just missing. Like what kind of I already said though is that the whole. Yeah, we did it, and there's just this triumphant feel. It's like you want the audience to feel triumphant that we won, and the fact that we're kind of it kind of loses the human element when we're not really touching base on the fact of all the people that have died. Like Randy Quaid sacrifices himself,
and we get one moment with the army officer is like, "You should be proud of your father,"
and that's kind of it. And you're kind of like.
But then it says like, I am proud of my father. Then that's a touching moment.
But it feels but in the moments like that, it just feels too set pieced together.
It's very,
and it feels alien. It doesn't feel like a human emotion. It feels like insert feeling here. It's kind of what it feels like to me, which is fine. It's just a sign of the times, especially something like this. I'm not going.
Well, I think it's not just necessarily a sign of the time. It's a sign of what these movies are.
Well, yeah, but I mean...
Because, especially, it is a movie because we connect to this movie because of our main characters and the journey we're seeing them go through. So the president young president, and...
Clinton.
Well, Clinton wasn't very young. He wasn't young.
No, but
he was the cool president.
He gave me the Clinton vibe.
That's
what you're doing because of the time period. It's like they usually base it off of whoever's president at the time.
And like
a lot of the time,
him losing his wife, but then it's like, but then him rising to be the American leader that the Americans need.
No,
leading
the world,
and then become the world needs. Yeah,
like even when
he's the fighter pilot, like he's
Well, even the British guy being like, the Americans have come up with a plan, and he's like, about time.
Yeah,
like, that's what we've been waiting for. We've been waiting for the Americans.
Been waiting for these fucking Yankees to do this some shit
to come on in and save the day. It's just like, oh man.
Yeah, even just like when
What would they do without us?
when it goes to Japan and it's like the Americans have reached us. Get ready for fights.
Yeah,
like it's like, Jesus Christ.
I get it's just so.
This is such a fucking pandering montage of like how cool America is.
Yeah, I can imagine being in another country like fuck them.
Yeah, right. You think we're just sitting back and waiting?
Yeah, it's just it's like it's especially it is that anti-America because of the #1 USA thing.
Yeah,
and you're like, this is a perfect case in point of that argument. It's like, well, have you seen Independence Day?
Yeah. But I do feel like they have a just enough job of dialogue and character development for you to kind of see each character's journey. So like what I was talking about with David and his estranged wife, I can't remember that character's name. She's like the president's fucking assistant or whatever.
Constance, right? That's her name, Constance. That's even the thing. It's like you kind of forget about their names too, because even then it's like president. They just call him Mr. President. Yeah. So you're like, well,
and like you hear their backstory through like dialogue that she has with his father. That it's like more of like the father is kind of like your narration of their relationship. Mm-hmm. And then finally you have their confrontation, and you hear and you see, you get enough information to understand like they were just at the wrong time together. But then this end of the world moment is like bringing them together, and they're realizing they need to get over their own shit to be together. If they want to be happy, he needs to get over that she's this, and she needs to get over that he wants to do this. Mm-hmm. And then with Will Smith, his whole thing is he wants to be a fucking astronaut. Did you pick up on that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I never really thought about. I never got that level before, because this is a long time since I've seen this movie.
Yeah,
and like him getting denied by NASA, and he is like, the whole thing is like, I mean, he just gets into a helicopter and flies away with it. So they're setting these little pieces of like, oh, he can fly anything. He is that good of a pilot. So NASA declining him is kind of like, well, what the fuck? Like, this is his chance to prove that NASA can go fuck themselves,
Yeah.
And even like, and he's in the alien craft and he gets up there and he's like, I've been waiting for this my whole life, And you get that there's a sense of like a touching like moment of like honesty of like, this is a good big moment for him. And then yes, it's going to save the world, and then obviously the big heroics have to happen, with him chasing out of the fucking alien space mothership.
Well, I had never noticed that they had kind of like were in like almost like a suicide pact there of like, well, fuck.
Yeah, right.
Oh well. And it just so happens lets them go, I was like, oh, well, that's kind of interesting. I never picked that up. They were gonna.
They were ready to just like, well, they went up there with the knowledge they may not come back.
Yeah. I mean,
and it's for humanity, it's for Earth. It's not just like.
I get what you're saying, but it's still just
it's small pieces that, and it doesn't make it like a complex, fully 3-dimensional story, character, script, or anything. It does give it 2 dimensions. It gives it enough to where you can actually connect or relate to somebody,
in this.
Yeah.
I mean, also Jeff Goldblum can do no wrong in my eyes. I really like anything he's
him discovering that the give it a virus is one of the most painfully written dialogue scenes, where it's just like his dad's like, come up, Thor, you're gonna get it cold. What did you say? Say that again. What about the god? No, you're gonna get a cold. A cold, yes. Yeah, that's exactly.
Well, since I watched the extended version, like the only thing that was really added, there was one scene prior to him discovering the sequence, the countdown. There was one scene, well, 2 kind of. There was a scene of Marty explaining in more detail what was going wrong with the TVs to kind of get Jeff Goldblum on the case, which just kind of showed his job more.
Yeah.
And there's another scene of him kind of discovering the sequence thing, and then there's the scene that you see in the theatrical version. And then other than that, there was just more dialogue with the children.
That makes sense.
Which was really, really painful, especially Dennis Quaid's.
There's a reason why they took it out?
Yeah, because even then there's this whole side story about the middle kid for Dennis Quaid. I can't remember what his name is.
He's like sick.
Yeah, there's a whole conversation about him and his medicine. This ambiguous medicine that he has to take.
Probably his insulin.
And they're fighting the older kid Miguel and Randy.
Deadbeat dad
are fighting about the money for that. And then he has this kind of like, tired of always fighting. And then he throws his medicine on the ground. So there's just these scenes where you're like, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, I get why we cut this out. And there's even like a scene with Whitmore, the president, of being like, he's the top 10 sexiest men alive. And with his,
What?
yeah, there's just like a lot of really weird.
What top 10? You're not joking. Like literally, like they're talking about top 10.
Him and Constance are talking about him not being, about his numbers going down because he's not a man of action or whatever, which leads into the whole, about him not being like, the president that everyone voted for. And then she's just like, well, you were voted in Life, like Lifetime magazine, like top sexiest men, 10 sexiest men alive. You're like, okay.
Whoa, okay.
So it's like, it's just funny because I was one of those guilty too of like, oh yeah, the extended version is where it's at. And as you get older, you're like, no,
Sometimes it's not.
Editors are there for a reason.
Yeah. Or it's a test audiences where they kind of realize like the test audience is like, what the fuck was this whole thing over here?
Yeah, like there's even another conversation with what's her name, the daughter from Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
There's another virgin conversation. Remember, there's the first one where she's like hooking up with the guy in the car. That's in the theatrical.
And he's like, "Do you really want to die a virgin?"
Yeah. And then at the end of the movie, when they're in the bunker, she says, "I really don't want to die a virgin" to this other guy.
Oh my god!
And then the other guy responds with, "Well, if we die virgins, we'll die together." And you're like, "What is happening?" Like, I don't even understand. Like, initially, was it? I think it was like a jab at a joke, and it just didn't.
Well, at first it kind of
know.
seems like it's kind of more of like a creepy dude's gonna be creepy dude at the end of the world, and
he's not. He's a gentleman or something.
Wait, is it the same guy that she has?
No, it's a different guy.
Oh yeah.
It's a different kid.
No, because at the end, then I don't know. I can't speak for the second part. But for the first one, I see that just for casual dialogue, like what would two teenagers be having a conversation at the end of the world type thing before the brother's like, we got to go type.
The guy obviously worried about getting laid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know. Second one, that's that. Maybe they were like, maybe we pushed that joke too far.
Yeah, it was a really weird kind of callback to the beginning act because this movie's long. It's like 2.5 hours.
It's 2 hours and 23 minutes, which I was surprised. And I will say, I feel like the pacing of this movie goes well enough where it doesn't feel like an overbearing amount of time. You feel the amount of time, but it's not like, why is this over yet?
Yeah. And I think it's because the pacing is well enough of like, all right, this is where we have to throw an action scene in, you know.
And there is like enough characters and truly enough development with the characters all around to feel like each act and scene deserves its moment. You know, because as it builds up to the final, the final attack or whatever, when they give the mothership a cold, and like we have our attack on Earth, where they blow up the first ship, and they're like, yeah, we can do it, but then we have to complete getting our other heroes back to Earth.
Yeah. I'm in that loop. I just can't get over.
What loop?
Just the complete. I don't know. Just like this whole thing for being a disaster movie too. And granted, this is kind of the beginning of him starting this.
Well, it's like this is technically a disaster movie, but it's more like as a disaster movie. It's not like disaster where we're trying to fight for survival. It's disaster. I mean, we are fighting for survival, but there's an actual thing that we can defeat. You can't defeat the weather, You can defeat an alien. You can kill an alien. You can't kill the weather. Sorry, did I interrupt you really bad?
Yeah, I'm trying not to lose the spot. Because we're in the beginning of the whole disaster motif that he ends up kind of doing, yes. And with that being the alien and everything, I just really felt like we kind of, and it's weird to say that because they did, but they did. I kind of felt like they swept over really quickly some of the destruction elements, in the sense of like, the New York City's leveled. And it's such a big, it's from the Empire, was it the Empire State Building that they aimed at?
That sounds right.
Or is it the Chrysler Building?
It might have been the Chrysler. I don't remember that specifically. I just have the after image of the Statue of Liberty in the water.
I can't remember. I think I wanted to say it was the Chrysler Building.
It wasn't the two towers, that's for damn sure. It wasn't the World Trade Centers, but
yeah, which I was actually I was kind of sitting there when we were getting ready, and I was like, is that where they put it? Because that's gonna. I mean, obviously you don't know, but no. Wait, when was the first attack? They might not have done that because the first attempt on the World Trade Center. When was the first attempt? I think that was in the 90s. I don't remember when
I forgot about that.
With the vans.
I don't remember.
Underneath.
I don't remember when that happened.
They might have
But it's one beam. They're going to focus on a singular building.
And I think also, I mean, I think it was the Chrysler. It would have to be the Chrysler Building, Empire State Building.
Does it have a point or does it flat?
I can't remember.
Oh, yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. It was a big
they would have picked
big building, New York.
Well, they would have picked one of those buildings too because they're older, they're iconic. Yeah, But what was I getting at? Oh, yeah, is that so? It's just so we have this destructive force to the point. We see it happening, and it's just this wall of fire, and then it cuts to a scene where it shows even the Empire State Building. This is how big this radius of explosion is, to where even the Statue of Liberty is now in the harbor. They blew it up. Kind of status.
Yeah, I was thinking
and
that
to
too.
me, it's just really kind of blown over. This you get these little glimpses of the scale of the destruction, but then they just blow over it so much, so you kind of forget how destructive. Because even then, there's a conversation about they're going to get to the next big cities in the next 36 hours.
Yeah.
So it gives you this countdown again that you have to worry about. But I just feel like they didn't really nail it in.
I think
enough.
I see what you're saying, but I think
you know what I mean.
It's
but
just
they didn't.
We see the level of destruction, and it's just kind of it's shown, and I think that's all they need is it's gone. There's no reason to talk about it anymore. It's gone. Those people are dead. We need to make sure nobody else dies.
Yeah. But it's but that element is as the audience member, I feel we are thinking that, but they're not really doing a good enough job to kind of keep reminding us of. And I did completely forget about the whole invasion sequence when they're getting out of the mothership. Mm-hmm. All the little transports are on their way, and I was like, that's kind of cool. I never noticed the armada swooping in or whatever. That's not the right word.
I think it's because in order to keep the audience invested, we need to focus on our characters and our heroes of the story.
Yeah.
So if you start focusing too much on what's been lost and the people that aren't on screen, then there's no reason for us to really care about the characters that are going to save the day.
Yeah.
The ragtag group of people you would never expect to get together come together, and forge this, savior system for America and the world,
Well, but I think also what I'm thinking of specifically, and it's just kind of happenstance that it's also him, but Day After Tomorrow does that big scale destruction, reminds you of it, but still does a pretty good job of staying with the characters.
Yeah.
And
this is also, that's 10 years later. He's evolved as he's learned. Because you're not wrong with what you're saying, but
you know what I mean? If it does and it doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm kind of torn in the
and
here.
Also I would say The Day After Tomorrow in general is a better movie than Independence
I think that
Day.
movie's great. Like you, I'm not a big fan of those end of the world shit, like 2012 and
which I still haven't seen that one. And the only reason I've seen A Day After Tomorrow is because I was playing at work and
it's pretty solid.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
Did you see that interview with speaking of Quaid?
Dennis, Jake Gyllenhaal
not remembering they were in the movie together.
Yeah, no. Jake Gyllenhaal couldn't remember, and Dennis was like, "No, we did a movie together." And he's like, "What? What movie?" And he's like, The Day After Tomorrow. And
he's like, "Oh yeah, you're my dad.
Oh, yeah, you're my dad." Whoa, that's crazy, isn't it?
It's wild. Yeah. I was like, how? And I was thinking about it. I was like,
because they don't have any scenes together.
They're all communicating radio and shit. I didn't never realize that they really don't have any scenes together. So why?
Yeah, why would you? He's like, no, I've never done a movie with you.
I've never seen your face before. What are we at?
About an hour.
All right, so we should start. I mean, and kind of brushed over it, but what you said too, that scene when the alien communication is fucking rad. I really like that when he's got the scientist and he's like,
dude, yeah,
talking through him. You're like, that's pretty creepy.
Yeah. Well, because like what's really cool about that
toy.
scene. Oh yeah,
I remember. I didn't remember that until watching it this time, but it was the scene with the tentacle, and I saw the tentacle, and then I saw him kind of come up. And I went, oh my god, I had that toy. It was like yay big.
Yeah.
His thing
I
opened
remember
up.
seeing it. Yeah,
I was like, oh, that'd be cool to have now.
What's I like about that scene, because it's really up to that point. Obviously, we've like as audience and everything that's kind of happened, we know that these aliens really aren't here for peace. You know.
Yeah, they're weirdly there to drain all the resources and then fuck off. Sound kind of familiar, huh?
But with the president sitting there, still, he's now doing his civil duty for the world. Like, is there any way we could live in peace?
Dude, his voice, man.
Bill Pullman.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he's great. And, you know, and then everything happening. But what I really like is obviously the stupidity of the scientists, you know, the arm is moving. It's alive. And it takes everyone out. But when the Brent Spiner, the main scientist, gets thrown up against the glass and he's like, release me. Their first thought is like, oh my God, get him out of there, because
they think it's him.
They think it's him. And it's also clever that the alien would be like using him as bait.
Yeah.
To like, because if they open that door, he's like, and now I can fucking kill everything and I get the fuck out of here. It's his fucking escape policy.
Yeah.
You know, his escape plan. And then, but immediate
escape policy.
Escape policy. The immediate like, no, they're like, wait, no, look at his neck. Like, don't open that fucking door. And then it comes down and it's like, all right, you fucking saw through my guys.
I mean, one of my favorite moments in that scene and just kind of in the movie, I just thought it was super badass, is, you know, the president's getting all brain scrambled and the general goes, is that glass bulletproof?
Yeah, I was
and he's like, no, sir. And then all six of them just you're like, fuck yeah, America!
Rock flag and eagle. I knew it was going to come out one more time.
And really, that scene, I'm like, yeah, shoot that alien. It's really good. It's really just testosterone.
Yeah, right?
Kill it. Kill that alien. But it's so funny. I like that we both were like, yeah. It's the 14-year-old boy in us.
It really is.
The 90s.
It's you know, and like this does like feed to that fantasy of like wanting to be the hero, you know, being the guy that like saves America, saves the world.
Well, because you kind of weirdly have a few, in a sense, in the writing sense, you have a few underdogs in this.
Yeah, like David,
who's just a telecommunications guy.
And Will Smith's character, Steve, is that his name?
Steve, yeah.
And he's kind of like the underdog because he's not being given the chance
to succeed in what he wants to.
Yeah.
Even the president, everyone's doubting his abilities.
Yeah.
You know?
So like they're all at the bottom, and this is them rising up to, you know, prove that they can be more. You see, there is depth to this movie.
Well, I mean, and
like little, but yeah.
I mean, some of the best comedic moments are when just when Jeff Goldblum is in the scene, just because he, like, even then he had another fucking Jurassic Park thing.
Which one?
I don't know. It might just because it's so iconic, but even like when they're trying to get out of the spaceship, he starts saying, must go faster. And
yeah.
I'm like, is this by accident that we keep doing this line from Jurassic Park? It kind of doesn't feel like on accident anymore.
Forget about the fat lady. You're obsessed with the fat lady.
Oops. No, but like,
oops. What
is
it? What do you mean,
oops. No, oops. Yeah.
No, oops.
That away. Or there's like that scene when he's like, and it's like, there's that classic hacker thing, which I always really love.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm triangulating her position, and it's just this mumbo jumbo that they spit out. We all just go,
okay.
Yeah,
that's how you hack. Yeah,
but he follows with, he's like, you can do that, and he's like, all cable repair guys can do that because his dad made a jab about his joke, and he's like, that's not what I do. You know, like I'm a telecommunications expert.
Yeah, not a cable. Yeah,
I'm not a cable guy. Like,
well, even like on the plane when the dad's like, Area 51, you know, we have one of these spaceships over.
That's a great scene.
And then the guy's like, he's not necessarily wrong. And then Jeff Holmes like, wait, about what?
But even then too. But
which
even
part
from like a policy of the former head of the CIA.
Yeah, right.
He's not gonna casually just around a bunch of civilians be like, oh, actually, no, there is an Area 51. He might be like, President, can I talk to you for a second in private?
Also, why hasn't he brought this up all fucking ready? If there's an alien invasion, the first thing you do.
That's what they say. They call it out. It is deemed classified.
Also, that's why he's weirdly the human. Not weirdly, he is the human villain in this because he's the one that's
shooting for the nukes and all that kind of. Even that, I guess that kind of goes real quick, ties back into my destruction. You don't understand the levity of it. Because it's like there's this big conversation about the nuke, not using the nuke from Fallout, and Jeff Goldblum's upset, and we can't use the nuke. We have to use the nuke.
We're gonna blow ourselves up and all of them.
Maybe they won't like the planet once we trashed it. Blah blah. All this, and they show the whole nuke scene, and then you kind of forget about that happening.
Yeah, because
quick.
also like, I mean, there's nothing around, I guess, for there to be any kind of nuclear fallout from that.
Oh, I mean, the land now.
But the land has already been nuclear destroyed by the fucking aliens.
Well, you don't know if that was a nuclear energy.
Fair, but I mean,
you don't know if it's radiated now. You know.
I mean, you don't know what kind of you don't know what kind of energy beam they blew up with.
No, totally. But it's like, but then Jeff Goldblum's point.
It could have a different kind of radiation that doesn't even exist on this planet.
Well, and that's what David's point was, though. You know, it's like, well, why double down on it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought it was like, it kind of felt like this big deal, and then we kind of just forgot about it pretty much immediately.
We shot a nuke and then it was like didn't work. Well, whatever. Yeah,
well, I like that your human villain thing is like, well, we got to keep trying, and they're like, get the fuck out of here. No, we don't.
Yeah.
Like, I just love that, like, that idea of just like, well, no, just keep shooting nukes at it. It's like, that's not how that works.
No,
that's not a good idea. It's never a good idea. Like, it's never a good idea. If you want mutual destruction, then yeah, it's great. Let them fly. But if you don't want that, it's not a good tactic.
We're actually running up close to 3. We need a wrap around.
Alrighty.
Well,
Ross Bagley, that's his name.
What do you feel?
I don't know.
I like a 3.5.
I'll meet you at 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I kind of thought you would be okay with a 3.5.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, let me give a little argument. You mind?
No, go ahead.
I
That's the
think,
point of this.
Yeah, fair. I think overall, because there's nothing inherently like bad about this movie. It's just that's a very, not force fed. Like, it's just feeding you everything, all the information you need, and it's fun. But I mean, because like, what's the last movie we gave you 3 really quick?
They gave a 3?
Yeah.
The Phantom.
This is better than The Phantom.
I guess that's fair, yeah. I mean, the most recent we gave the 3 in the conversation of for what it is.
Yeah.
It is good for, so The Phantom was good for its pulp comic, superhero, garbage. Not very deep. So yeah, I guess for a sci-fi, I mean, and again, I just kind of have to let it go, but it's just that America is great.
I mean, maybe
hoopla,
and I'm trying to kind of let that side go because that whole thing, because that's very much a representation of its time, and really that's not a big thing anymore. I mean, even like fucking Roland Emmerich, I want to say, or maybe it was Dean Devlin.
It's a thing, but it's more divided.
Yeah, but like one of our producers of this, writer-producers, they also did like Olympus Has Fallen, Yeah. So like the whole president's in trouble or president's the hero, genre, has lost its curve because of the division of our country right now, know. But at the end of the day, there is the Americans have finally figured it out, but it's also like it's like about the world trying to save the world over than America.
Yeah, it's like we are watching the America's take on the situation, but the fact that they did make it a worldwide issue was a really smart idea because, like I said in the beginning, it makes us the fear,
Yeah.
And
this will now be the world's Independence Day.
Hey,
that's actually a great fucking speech.
I don't care what anyone says.
Bill Pullman fucking delivers that like a boss.
Dude, like that gave me chills. I was like, man, this is a really great like rally.
Because
speech.
It's actually, it's very well written about it not being just about America.
Yeah. Which, it's like now it's all of our Independence Day, which you're kind of like, there it is.
It's like, we were going,
we had to circle back to America. Well, I mean, and they were smart to put like one little rhyme in there. We will not disappear into the night. We will not die without a fight. You're like,
monkey brain.
Yeah. It really does. It really worked. I was just like, and then again, you know, like I don't know. Yeah, again, I was like, that was a really well written. There's only, and I feel like there's a couple of them too. You know, like the Braveheart one. That's one that really like gets people like, you know, and that's definitely up there, especially for the '90s era. That's like, and it's Bill Pullman and his fucking voice, great voice.
I mean, it's Henry IV Shakespeare, like the wee band of brothers. Speech.
Yeah, and I think that's what it's those in the speeches of rallying the comrades to a common goal thing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, sure. We can get it a 3.5 because it really is.
I got you.
I'm sorry about that, everyone. I just spit really hard.
There's flies everywhere.
I know. That was weird timing.
You secreted and they came. Yeah. All right. Is that 3.5?
3.5, yeah.
All right, cool.
Let me put it in the thing. Yeah. I think we went around in a circle enough. I should stop talking. That's not how you. This is how you spelled it. This is how you spell it.
To 3.5.
So are we committing to next week?
I'm down for that still. Okay. I mean, it'll be an interesting, fun conversation.
So we're gonna kind of keep it in the America, fuck yeah, theme, and it's just something that I've been really curious to rewatch. So I was kind of pushing for it.
I mean, this is definitely in the president. Well, save the president, but it's the president's the hero.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I guess we're keeping in the vein. The president's the hero.
Oh yeah, there you go. We like the president in this one. Air Force One.
Yeah, get off my plane.
Starring Harrison Ford and Gary Oldman.
Yeah, it's Gary Oldman is the bad guy. That's right. Oh, yeah.
That's kind of my selling point. I wanted to see how because I remember him being pretty good.
Fucking phenomenal, probably. Name a movie that Gary Oldman is bad in.
Well, and I can't remember what his affiliation is. I'm curious what we're gonna do there.
He's Russian.
I think he's Russian.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think he's a Russian.
Because like the Cold War never ended.
Not for him.
Not for anyone, really.
But yeah, so we were like, fuck it, let's do that one. Haven't done Harrison Ford in a while and never done Gary Oldman. Like,
yeah, we have. Fifth Element.
Oh, yeah. Cool, yeah. So, yeah, around the same time ago, basically. But yeah, so follow us on Instagram, Facebook to see all of our promos of what's coming up and all those promos. There's a link tree. Click on that to find out, find where our episodes are that best suits you. Whether it be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, we're on YouTube with video. If you're just listening, we do have the video. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think. We're a self-produced podcast, so any input would be great. And that is everything. This is Tommy.
And this is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's Mixtape. Bye.
Rock flying eagle.
Fuck off.